On today's episode,
on the CEO of you.
Aaron, my name is Aaron David. Discipline is all about self-control. The way I practice discipline sometimes, this is like the simplest form. I'm a personal growth coach for working and business professionals. I've read 10 books, I've read 20 books, I've read 100 books. You sound smart, right? If you don't have anything to show for it, that was me. I read all these books, but I didn't have anything to show for it. I basically help them create a better life for themselves inside and outside of the workplace by working on their mindset and personal skills. If you really want to get rich, you will really start reading. You will really start speaking to the right people. You will really start doing the things that's going to contribute to you. If not getting rich, at least increasing your income. I'm also a drone operator. I fly a drone for videography purposes, and I'm also learning copywriting. One day in my life, I want to write a book. I think I want to call it. This is going to be all of my experiences. This is going to be all of my life lessons. But I'm writing this book for my kids and my grandkids.
Welcome to the CEO of you. CEO being the highest ranking position you can be in any company. We believe that you are the CEO of your life and you have full responsibility on how you react to situations in your life.
always remember, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react. Be the boss, be the CEO. Repeat after me. I create my own pathway.
I will be great.
I am worthy.
Thank you, Aaron, for coming to the CEO of You podcast. How
No
you feeling?
problem.
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I was cold on my way here, but I'm good now. Do you know what I mean?
How far did you travel?
From London.
London.
We're in Birmingham right now.
Yeah, the big city.
Nah, facts.
Hey.
Nah, you know, with the weather, just off topic, the weather has been cold, but yeah.
Nah, serious.
It has been freezing.
Expected, innit? Expected.
Serious.
So let's begin, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to just tell us how life was growing up. Do you get it? Like, how hard of a life did you have growing up? Or was it easy?
Do you know, in terms of like childhood, my childhood was good. Like playing outside, just doing the normal kid stuff. Do you know what I mean? Playing games, I wouldn't say I was a bad kid, but I was bad, but I didn't get caught. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I'm throwing rocks at cars. I'm playing knock down ginger. I'm just the kid. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You were sneaky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mischievous, I would say.
Yeah.
But in terms of like hardship, I didn't notice the hardship because I was a kid. Do you know? Remember, when you're a kid, you're in like a fairyland. Everything's perfect to you. Life's just good. It's only when you start getting older, when you start hitting like the 14s, 15s, 16s, that's when you start realizing like, oh, my life's not like that person's life. My life's like this. Oh, I might not have enough money to go do this or buy that. Then you start coming more into reality and realizing, okay, this is not what it used to be or what I thought it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you still.
Man.
Because it's like when I was growing up, well, for everyone growing up, you just think your household's normal until you start like going to school more, and then you make good friends, and then you go into their household, and it's like, oh,
Completely
yours is different.
Yeah.
Like, but
Is that how you're living? Is that how
you
you're living?
think, yo, is that how you're living? Oh, you've got more money than me.
Facts.
This is like, your life's better. That's what you start thinking to yourself. But yeah. So at what point did you realize you wanted more?
I'm going to say early 2021.
2021.
So just last year, really?
Kind of, yeah. The thing is, I always knew that I wanted more, but I didn't do anything about it. And I think that's for a lot of people right now. Obviously, you want more, but you haven't had that click moment where it's like, nah, I'm not having it no more. I'm demanding more for myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I came from a place where I was just floating. Do you know what I mean?
What was you doing when you was just floating?
But that's the thing. I wasn't doing anything. I was just wake up, go through your day, go sleep, eat, like just the normal life. But then I was thinking to myself, because I'm quite a logical and self-aware person, I was just thinking, if I want more, I'm going to need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I was seeing the way that everyone else was living. I wasn't living like that. Even down to the small things. Like I remember a few times it might be like Christmas or someone's birthday, and you're seeing the things that people are getting on Snapchat, And you're thinking, bro, like, I didn't get that. I'm seeing people opening up iPhones and da-da-da-da-da. Obviously, I got some nice stuff, but like compared to what people, I was seeing people get cars and stuff like that. I'm thinking, what? And then
For Christmas, that's kind of mad, you know?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you start comparing it to what you was getting. Not to say that I didn't get good stuff, but it's like you realize that more exists. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then I say the actual moment when I realized I wanted more, I was just broke, bro. That was it.
I can relate.
That was it. But I started seeing not rich people, but just people having more. And you start realizing that more exists. And it's like, nah, there's no reason why I can't have it. Do you know what I'm saying? And to get more, I just started reading. I always used to, there was a period of time where I was just ordering food. All the time. Order food. KFC. Then I've always heard of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. But I was always like, oh, I'll read it later. I'll read it another time. I'm going to read it at this time, whatever. Then I was like, you know what? I'm spending all of this money on food. Let me just buy the book. I was like, cool. Bought the book. Came like the next day. After I read it, that's when everything, like the way I started thinking, the way I started speaking, just changed.
Was that your first book?
Third.
Oh, okay.
I would say Rich Dad Poor Dad's around everybody's
first
for the first few
I
books.
feel like it's recommended to everyone, isn't it?
Literally.
My first book was the Rules of Thinking by Richard Templar. No, sorry. It was the Rules of Thinking by Richard Templar. Then it was the Rules of Wealth by Richard Templar. Then it was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Tell us what you learned in the first books.
The first book, I didn't even read the whole book, but I remember one thing that stood out to me. The author said avoid echo chambers. So echo chamber is like a group of friends or community that have the same thought systems and same beliefs as you. So it's like, let's say this was an echo chamber, right? I believe that electric cars are bad. Even though electric cars might not be bad, but because you guys all think the same thing, we all believe electric cars are bad. You guys basically validate anything that I say.
Yeah.
So I could say the wrong thing, but because you guys validate and everyone agrees with me, I think I'm right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We see a lot of this on social media. One of the disadvantages of being in an echo chamber is that there's no challenging opinions. Do you know what I'm saying? So no one's going to say anything that's going to make you think like, hold on, I'm wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? So you could say something stupid, outrageous, because the people around you are validating it, you think you're right. So you need to avoid that. You need to be around people that's going to challenge the way you think.
Yeah.
Even if they know you're right, just challenge it for the sake of challenging it, just to make you think.
Have you had friends like that who are just maybe all just think the same thing, all think the same thing, same beliefs, and you ever think like it keeps you in a box if you're all thinking the same and doing the same things?
Yeah and no at the same time.
Why? Yes
Because
and no?
I have two friendship groups, right? One is like my school guys came up together, etc. Then I have my guys that we came together quite recently. So these are more growth and success type of friends, like we're on that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so why are your friends group not in the same group as the same growth and success group?
Because obviously I'm at these. How do I word it? I think it's important to departmentalize your friends. So you have friends for the fun stuff, the chilling, the vibes, etc., etc. But then you have the friends over here. When it's time to get serious, we get serious. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't necessarily want to push what I'm doing on these guys if they're not ready for it yet. Do you know what I'm saying? And these guys have their own way of thinking, but they all have the potential to be successful. So I know when their time comes and they start switching on, they're going to switch on. So when they do that, we'll be ready. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't say their way of thinking has affected me negatively. How is it? Nah, it hasn't. To be honest.
Would you say you outgrew them?
Not even that. I just started doing different things to what we was doing before.
Yeah.
Like, not that we was doing anything bad, but it was just I started doing more. Like before, reading wasn't a thing in that group. Then I started reading. Then I started introducing reading to the guys. Then reading slowly becoming a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? But with this group, reading's always been a thing. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
That sounds like elevation though in a way.
You know,
yeah.
I feel like I could relate to some of those points because you have to be fair, I have a friendship group, let's say for gaming, but then to elevate yourself, it's a whole different friendship group.
Yeah.
But then it's like gaming's fun, but I can also have fun with like the people that want to develop themselves. But it's just not going to be as often. Do you get it? But yeah, moving.
Speaking of gaming, I think we spoke about it in the last podcast before. Gaming is something we recently quit. It was one of our bad habits we struggled with. Me, myself, personally speaking, it gave me the effects such as late nights, so I was always tired. It would reflect in my uni grades because I'd rather go and do the easy stuff, so I was procrastinating a lot. Has gaming ever affected you in any aspects? Because I know for a fact gaming, especially for young boys, man, here, GTA, yeah, I'm there. Pro clubs, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Has that ever affected you in any way? As in growing up?
Not negatively, because I was playing games at a young age, but to the young age, to the point where you ain't really got nothing else to do. Like primary school, you're not, or early high. I was playing from primary school. Primary school, you're not really getting homework like that.
Yeah.
High school, you're probably just getting homework, but you're not doing anything outside of school. It's literally school, come home, eat, shower, sleep, whatever. Then in the spare time, you might play games.
What about like college and sixth form and recent years?
Nah, I wasn't gaming still. I stopped, but I didn't even stop like on purpose.
What was the reason? Then?
Yeah, why?
I used to play. I love shooting games, even to this day. Like, I was playing Black Ops 2, but I was sinister on it. Like Saturdays, I'll wake up at like 6 a.m. just bang it through the whole day to like the next
Man,
6
putting in
a.m.
a shift.
Like
That's an addiction.
I was playing it from obviously our time zone. You're playing with English people, etc., etc., etc. But I'm playing till when the American people start hopping on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. But the thing is, I used to get mad because I'm tired. My eyes are red, but these lot are just fresh, woken up. So these lot are smoking everyone. So I was just like, nah, man, turn it off. But then the reason why I stopped is because I was playing around with the settings. Then I restarted the level I was at.
Oh, so
by accident.
you got like the rubber emblem as well on Black
I
Ops
was
2.
so angry. Then I was just like, you know what? Because I had done so much in the game. I was just like, nah, I'm not doing this no more. Then I gave the game to my friend. I didn't play it again.
That's mad though. Don't you think all that progress that you done just
wiped.
gone like that?
That's why I didn't play it again, because
And
it
you
was
think
too
to
much.
and you think to yourself, oh, that progress didn't even matter anyway.
Yeah.
Only existed in the game.
Nah, but at the time I wasn't thinking that.
See,
What was
that's
you
crazy.
thinking? You were
That's
just
crazy.
thinking,
Because obviously that was I had other games to play, but that was my go-to game.
yeah.
Because I had invested so much time in the game. When I restarted it, I was just like, I'm not doing this again.
You
Yeah,
felt crushed in it.
that's how I feel. Because like I think in my private story I spoke about it the other day. I'm saying now people invest so much time in games, such as like GTA grinding to get all the guns, doing all the heights, 2K grinding in the gym to get all the badges. When they have nothing to show for it, because next year you're gonna have to do the exact same thing again. And if you're addicted to it, you're gonna do it next year, and you still have nothing to show for it. Whereas in reality, they should be investing in maybe something that's actually gonna have a return on investment.
Yeah, facts.
So maybe that'd be courses, investing in books, education. Well, I'm glad you said that, because, like I said, you kind of just outgrow them things. Especially you realize that once you put in the progress and then it's gone, you're like, got nothing to show for it. Exactly.
I wouldn't even say that I've outgrown gaming though. When I get to a certain level, I'm probably gonna start gaming again.
You think so?
But like just for fun, just because I got the time, it's like, why not? Do you know what I mean?
What's that level then?
When I can wake up and do whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for us, you might wake up, you guys might think, oh, I gotta edit this video, or I need to make money today, or am I gonna get paid this day, or whatever. When all of those worries disappear and I just got free time, I got my own apartment, mum sorted, sister sorted, it's like no worries. Just play games, why not?
Yeah.
Literally.
You know what? Fair enough. I feel like I had the same approach, but I realized maybe I just had a gaming addiction. And if I was to go back to gaming later, I'd just become addicted again.
For real.
And I feel like that would just take a toll on, even though I didn't have anything to do that day, things just will start catching up to me. And then I'll just have a lot of stuff to do again.
I think it's important, if you are going to go back to it, it's important to have a balance though. Because I feel like, but even having a balance is kind of hard, because you'll play one game, then you'll be like, okay, well, I'll turn it off next round.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and if you play good,
one
you
more
carry
game,
on.
one more game.
Addiction, I'm telling you.
It's true, I hear it.
Especially if it's in like certain games where it's like FIFA, where like they got SBCs. So imagine that you could have something coming up this day, but the SBC finishes by a certain day before, and then you're like, oh, you know what? I've actually got to go and complete the SBC, so that takes up a lot more time than you think it is. So that's like gaming is a crazy word, man. It is really crazy. But moving on from gaming, with our previous guest, he spoke about male figures and how his father helped him become the man he is today.
Joshua, innit?
Joshua goes.
We had a good conversation as well.
Yeah. So, is there any male figures? Because I believe male figures for young men is very important. So, is there anybody, a male in your life that got you to this next level?
It's kind of mad when I think about it. When you say next level, what do you mean? Like to where I'm right now?
Yeah, because I'm guessing the Aaron you are today is a lot better than the Aaron you was before.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Flomsy. I'm not gonna lie. Have you guys heard of Flomsy?
Is he? I see him on Grow Daily's page.
Yeah.
I don't think I know who he is. But.
Basically, before all of this, like before the books, he's part of the reason why I started reading. Before all of this, you see rich people on YouTube, you see them on Instagram, etc. But I had never seen a black guy from London that has got rich and drives my dream car. So when I was thinking, what if he can do it? There's no reason why I can't do it, and it's kind of relatable because he's the same color as me. So I'm assuming he's probably dealt with certain things that I've dealt with as well. So it was just more relatable. Then he was doing the Snapchat posts, the motivationals, etc. He was telling people to read. So that's why I started reading as well, because I wanted to be like him. So it was like anything he says is Bible, I'm going to listen. Do you know what I'm saying? Then just started following. And eventually I met him.
You met him?
Yeah. It's crazy. I could even show you guys. I made a snap. I made a snap and I said, I'm going to meet Flomsy this year by fire and by force. 2 months later, he invited me to his apartment.
What?
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy.
But
that's
how did you get to that point where he invited you?
Because basically, I can't remember the word for it, but I planned for something to happen, even though there was a chance that it couldn't happen, but I planned for it anyway. Okay. So now, I'm a very good writer, right? I thought it would be a good idea if he had his story in a book. So then I basically planned out an idea of me writing a book for him, etc., basically documenting his life. Then one day he posted about that on his story. Then I popped up and saying, Flomsy, I'm a writer. I write a book for you. He was like, come and see me. Then like the next Saturday I went to his apartment and we were just talking.
Oh, that's
how was it when you got to meet him?
I was gobsmacked.
And I could imagine someone that you looked up to and you like.
Bruv, it's crazy because
he's in front of you.
Like when someone changes, I can't he changed the whole trajectory of my life. I'm not gonna lie to you. So then when you've gone from seeing a person on Snapchat, then they're right in front of you, like right in front of you. You're sitting on their sofa. It's crazy. Sometimes you don't even know what to. You must have asked me, what do I do? I only said one of the things that I'd done, but I was thinking, and in my head I was like, I do something else, but what do I do? Like, I couldn't even think straight.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I think he probably played the biggest role in him and someone else called Jazz Rose. Have you guys heard of him?
Nah, I haven't heard of Jazz Rose.
He basically teaches people to become financially free on Instagram. But these are the times where I was still down low. I messaged him. He was like, what's your number? Surprising. Then he called me. He's just like, how do you think I can help you? He just like asked me questions. Asked him a bunch of questions. And yeah, these two are probably like the main people in helping me become who I am today. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so what if you could teach us one lesson today, and the viewers at home, what one lesson did you learn from? Is it Flomsy? Flomsy and the other guy. Sorry, what's the other guy's name?
Jazz Rose.
So what 2 lessons did you learn from Flomsy and Jazz Rose? One lesson to teach the viewers, because I guess in some lessons played more of an impact than others. So which one meant a lot to you that solidified? Right, I need to get up and change.
I'm gonna say 2 from Flomsy.
Go on then.
One thing he always says is to. I remember so much that he says. I could say so much. It's crazy. One thing that he says, is to always believe in yourself, but always get up and do something. So it's like, even if you don't know what you're doing, just do something anyway, and just keep working towards something, because eventually something's gonna happen. You only need to be right once. He said that he was wrong 99 times, but you got it right once. So once you get it right once, everything changes.
Yeah.
one thing that Jazz Rose says: complete your day on paper before you complete it in person. So this is,
I like that.
literally
Same.
planning your day the night before. So when the day comes, there's no wasting time. There's no what I need to do. There's no procrastination. You know exactly what you need to do because it's on paper. And get it done.
I like the last one.
Yeah,
I like the last one. The
To be
last
fair,
one.
I like both of them. I like both of them.
Trying to think of something else that Flomsy says as well.
Oh, yeah, I did like the first one.
Flomsy says he says to read. This is the reason why I started reading. I'm not gonna lie, because he just said read. Sorry, and I'm a logical person, so I'm thinking if this rich guy is saying read and he's got the life, I just need to imitate what he done so I can get the life as well.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. So he basically talks about how reading reprograms the mind. And that's exactly what it does. One thing that I've realized is that reading allows you to think from someone else's perspective.
Transferring energy.
And it's like, one thing that Alex Hormozy said as well, with the older books, Think and Grow Rich, I even got Think and Grow Rich in my pocket as well.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Those books were written with the intention of actually teaching. A lot of the recent books that are created now are to basically upsell into something else like coaching or just to make money.
Or notoriety.
Yeah, exactly. But with those old books, they really change the way you think. And it's even hard for me to kind of put it into words, but the way I used to think before compared to the way I think now, just from certain books, is absolutely crazy, if you know what I mean.
So, who are you now and who was you back then?
That's a mad question.
Take your time.
The Aaron before, yeah, that's a good question. I'm not gonna lie. The Aaron before, yeah, I was just like any other young boy, but I was known for girls, bro.
Yeah?
I was always on girls, like every day. Girls. Like I would wake up, bro. Phone, my snap, girl.
Yeah,
I even had a private story for girls.
Yeah, that's
Bro,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Bro.
What do you mean a paragraph story for girls?
Bro,
a
like,
private story.
Or a
Private
private story
story,
just for
private
girls?
story, bro.
I thought you said a paragraph. Like, man, I was sending a paragraph every day.
Nah.
Wouldn't be surprised if you done that now. Stuff.
I was just a tactician as well. Like, for example, let's say one girl might say something to me. I might screenshot it, put it in my private story, but then it'll get the other girls jealous.
Yeah.
So then the other girls start messaging you, and then it's just, it's easy, bro.
Mind games.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit like manipulation as well. Manipulating the
It's
play.
crazy, bro. But like, that was my main focus. You know what I'm saying?
You say it's Jose Mourinho in that sector.
Kind of, bro. But then, that's where my focus was. It was just girls. It was just girls, but I can't even describe like how bad it was. Obviously I'm older, I'm more mature now. When I look back at it,
Do you have anything to show for it?
that's why, bro. Like, it's not worth it, bro.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I realized, I was just trying to fill a void. Do you know
Go
what
on,
I'm
Sam.
saying?
If you could tell a message for maybe the younger generation.
I feel like everyone has a void, right? And everyone tries to fill it with something, whether it might be gaming, whether it might be drugs, whether it might be alcohol, partying, etc. Mine was girls. I don't know why, but that's just what it was. And as I got older, I realized there's more to life. Like, what am I doing? Like you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
So then I stopped. But I'd say I only stopped when I started reading and getting serious about life. Then I was like, if I really still want to indulge in women, they're not going anywhere. I can read all these books. I can sort out my life. They're still going to be here. So I was like, it's just not worth it because you're going on this goose chase every day and what are you doing? Do you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking, the man that I want to become that man doesn't do this kind of things. Do you know what I'm saying? The man is disciplined. He's consistent in his actions. He's trustworthy. He's mature, etc. So I was like, I just need to stop. What am I doing? I'm just wasting time. So then I stopped. Now, I don't talk to any girls, bro.
No.
Because it's long. There's no ROI unless like you have your own specific woman. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just hedonism. That's just that short-term pleasure. Do you know what I'm saying? You're just going around and just wasting time. one thing in thinking that I read in Think and Grow Rich, it says the main reason why men reach their full potential around 40 to 50 plus is because that's when they're less sexually active. In the younger years, that's when they're focusing on girls, sex. Do you know what I'm saying? They're just wasting so much time, and it's only later on they realize how much time they actually wasted in those acts. So it's like, if you can focus now, the chapter is called Sexual Transmutation.
Sexual transmutation. I have a feeling. I read a bit of that as well.
Yeah, it's called Sexual Transmutation. It's basically when you feel like doing the act, when you feel like speaking to women, etc. That same energy, notice that you have drive, you want to take action. So if you can convert that same energy and direct it somewhere else, the book says that you can become a genius. Right?
Makes
so
sense.
it's like, let's say you want to go meet this girl, etc. You say, nah, the same energy that I'm going to use for this girl is the same energy I'm going to put into writing this book, whatever.
Going to the gym, maybe.
Going to the gym. That's what sexual transmutation is, but it takes proper willpower, discipline, the whole lot.
Do you know about semen retention then? I know.
Yeah.
No fact.
Yeah.
I feel like, I feel like that's what it kind of links into, because I think when I started to just hop on that, like clear my mind, move from porn, move from girls and everything, I kind of found myself a lot more strong-willed to complete tasks. But did you ever feel like, I don't know if you practice semen retention or have you?
Probably like, the longest I've probably gone like 3 months.
Feel like that's still pretty good.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
did you feel like an increase in energy levels, as in more mental clarity? Like, what would was there any benefits for you?
Not really, bro. I'm not
You
gonna
didn't feel
lie.
no?
I'm not gonna lie. Because it's like, how do I even word it? I didn't feel the difference. I think the only difference was that I was more focused on what needed to be focused on. Do you know what I'm saying? You're not chasing women, you're not doing this and doing that. But I think that's just like maybe that's the whole point of it, to be more focused. So maybe you could say that there was a benefit to it. But yeah.
I feel like semen retention's a hit and miss with a lot of people, because as he just said, he doesn't really feel the difference. You say you felt a difference.
I feel the difference.
One
And
thing
with
as
me,
well.
it's kind of a mixture of both.
Mix it both.
Because it's like some days I'm like, yo, I'm really gonna have to discipline myself in it and just focus. Then other days it's a breeze. So it's kind of like.
Well, you have to think though, your sexual energy ain't going nowhere. So I feel like it would maybe just be almost as high when you're 30 and you're 40, because your sexual drive will still be there. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? So maybe if you use it better at your younger ages, get through focus. Once you're there at the top, do whatever you want.
I think
truly.
It's definitely good for practicing discipline.
100%.
Because one thing that I teach, one thing I say to myself, I say to some of my guys as well, that if you can't deal with something, how are you going to teach your sons and your grandkids to deal with it? So let's say, for example, your son comes to you and says, Dad, look, I'm dealing with all these girls, I'm struggling, I want to stop, but I can't stop. If you've never been in that situation, or you've been in that situation but you couldn't overcome it, how are you going to teach your son to do it?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? What kind of dad are you going to be that you can't direct your son? So it's like, doing these kind of things is bigger than you, because you got to think for the next. It might even be your little brother that you need to teach how to get through this stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say something else, but it slipped my mind. It slipped my mind.
I want to speak on a bit more discipline, because I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's something for young men that they need to understand. Because it wasn't until I read recently, I think I heard this quote, you can either suffer the effects of having discipline or the effects of having non-discipline, basically no discipline. Basically saying, whichever one you choose, to have it or not, there's going to be effects, and suffering the effect of discipline are a lot more greater than having none. Do you guys see where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah, I kind of see where you're going.
I mean, it's a bit of a hit of a miss, but I kind of hear what you're saying. So I want to say, what is the importance of discipline for you exactly?
For me, discipline is all about self-control. Like, the way I practice discipline sometimes, this is like the simplest form. I might go to the shop to buy like milk or something like that. I want to buy sweets. I know I can buy sweets, but I just say don't buy sweets.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to not buy sweets, but I just say don't buy sweets. Just to practice the discipline. Knowing that you want to do something, but still saying no to yourself. Knowing that you can do something, but you still say no to yourself, right? That's what it is. For me, it's just self-control. And I think to be a man, or to be a human in general, but I can talk for men because we're men. It's very important to be disciplined. It's very important to know how to control yourself, how to conduct yourself. Like, what kind of man would you be if you're not disciplined?
True.
Every time an opportunity comes up, you're running here, you're doing this, you're just all over the place. A non-disciplined man basically has no self-control.
Yeah.
Think of it. A person that has no self-control, well, what kind of person is that? That's crazy. To me, the person, that's crazy.
That man that have 9 kids on road, 6 baby mums. No discipline.
But like, yeah, and I was just thinking.
I thought you had something to say.
I was just thinking mode.
That's crazy, so.
So we spoke about the old Aaron, spoke about the new Aaron, and we basically spoke about your identity shift, innit?
No,
Not really. So what?
I only made the identity shift recently, bro, because I was talking to my friend, network of mine called Nathan Peters. What I basically do sometimes, yeah, I've done it with you guys as well. I have networking calls, I just reach out to people, say, oh, let's network, have a conversation, see how I could possibly provide value to them. Same on their side.
Win-win.
And if you do 2 networking calls a day, you can do the maths of how many contacts you'll have by the end of the month, the end of the year. So it's just a win-win on your side specifically. Now, me and him was having a conversation. He was like to me, one thing that he believes I can help people with is making an identity shift. Because he was talking about how we should be acting like the person that we want to become in order to gain the results of the person that we want to become. The reason why we're getting the results that we're getting right now is the person who we are right now, right? So in order to get what we want, we have to become that person that gets that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So he said to me, one thing he believes I can help people with is making an identity shift. But then I was like, hold on, have I even made an identity shift myself? Like, I want all of these things in my life, etc., but I'm still acting like the old Aaron to an extent. Yeah. I'm still not disciplined. I'm still waking up late. I'm still procrastinating. I'm still screen times doing the craziness, but I'm just not acting like the person that I'm supposed to be. And on my wall, I've written down all of the attributes of my future self, but I'm not acting like that person. So how can I expect to get the results that I want if I'm not acting like this person? So then I was like, cool, this is what you need to start doing. Then that's when I made the identity shift. Start acting like this person. So no longer, forget the old Aaron. He no longer exists. Even though he tries to come back sometimes, put him in the past. Act like this guy to get the results that you're looking for. And I think that's the thing that people need to do in their life. Make an identity shift. I even made a TikTok about this as well. It's because a lot of the time, we want new things in our life, but we're still acting like our old selves. But our old self is getting us the results that we're getting now. Old self means old results. New self means new results. Right?
Yeah.
That's how important an identity shift is. Identifying as your higher self or your new self. Do you know what I mean? But yeah.
Okay, that's nice. I'm just gonna throw it to you now.
Yeah.
Would you say you've had an identity shift?
I'm guessing you're hinting about a private story. Yeah, I would say I've had an identity shift, crazy identity shifts. Similar to yourself, I wrote down the old habits I had, previously had, and then I said the new habits I wanted to have, and I said all these new habits is what's going to make me the new person I identify to be. And obviously I said I don't want to be someone who wastes his time, so I was going to say more effective in my time using. And obviously my old habits is I would be gaming. So I would kind of find something that's going to be more effective to me to become the person I come. So then I was saying, all right, cool, cut out the gaming. That's killing my time. It's an old habit. It's not going to get me to this person. And then I started to change that to focus on more editing. So then it's kind of like a big thing because there's other like multi-factors. So gaming, because with gaming there's a lot more, because it's YouTube videos you're watching, the people you're around who you're consuming. Also, like, even if like it's just chatter, someone talks about this, you get involved. It's like, nah, it's not who you want to be. So that's why it's especially speaking with my boy Ajni a lot, because he's involved in editing and watch editing videos a lot more. And then slowly but surely, once you hit that stage where you realise, wait a sec, I'm not doing the old habits anymore. That's it. You're gone, because you're behaving like you just said, behaving like the person you want to be. But I've always said to friends, like, how can you become the new person you want to be if you're still indulging in previous habits? You're never going to get there. That's crazy.
I think one thing that's evidently helped you as well. And one thing that I believe would help, will help a lot of people, is that when you're trying to make an identity shift, either be with people that are trying to make an identity shift as well, or be with people that have already made the identity shift. Because if you're still with people that haven't, environment always trumps willpower. So you can be with the old people, try to be like your new self, but your environment's going to consume you, and you're still going to be like that person.
That's crazy.
You know
that's a gem still. That's a gem.
Listen to this. So I stumbled on my identity shift on accident, and then I was just consuming all the time. And then I was just on YouTube consuming, and then I came across a Nella Rose video. I don't know if you guys know who Nella Rose is.
Yeah, that's the girl on Foot Asylum, isn't it?
Yeah. And she was like showing her new apartment, and I said, "Raw, that's what she's got. Like, how'd she do that? Just create content." And I was like, hang on, I'm just sitting here in my bed, my socks, just consuming.
Start creating.
Yeah, just being a brokey in my bed. And I'm like, yo, I'm going to start creating content, bro. So I started up my TikTok. Raw grew that rapid still, but then I kind of fell off. Made a YouTube channel. And then bringing it back to my old environment now. I was trying to make YouTube videos with those guys, but it was kind of like they weren't available then, weren't available here. So I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to make content with you lot. I wanted all of us to make content, but it just didn't pan out that way. And then obviously social media, made new networks and met Black Bezos, Faith, a bunch of other people, and now we're just on this journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, this journey. Cause like I said, the people who talk to you, like you said, in your friendship group, same as me. Like I only really talk to them whenever it's like someone's birthday or we're going out. Like speak to Ajne, Arts events more, even speaking to you as well. These are the people you want to speak to, and the more you speak to them, the more you realize, yo, I still got a long way to go. I'm still growing.
That's the thing as well, because like one thing that I realized, I almost fell in the trap as well, but I snapped out of it ASAP.
Go on, tell us about that.
Is when you start entering this personal growth, financial freedom, success journey, etc., naturally you become smarter. And the beginning stages, it happens quite rapid. You start zooming through books, you start zooming through podcasts, YouTube videos, etc. Then as you start learning, you start realizing how much more you need to learn, right? But then when you compare it to what your old friends and your old self, it's like you almost feel superior, right? Kind of gives you a superior complex, but that's not, you shouldn't allow it to get to your head, because then when you start meeting people that's now on the same level as you or ahead of you, you realize how much more you need to go, how much further you need to go, how much more you need to know. And you realize like, yo, I'm not no one, but we got things to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how it kind of was for me as well.
Do you ever feel like, not to sound rude or anyway, do you ever feel like when you went back to your friendship group, you weren't on the same gen as you? Do you ever feel like you couldn't really have them kind of conversations you want to have? Because like, you see like this right now, this conversation we're having now, speaking our mind freely, really like, because I would say in a way, these are like vulnerable moments, as in we're very vulnerable about where we want to go, who we want to be. I don't feel like I could have this conversation with my normal friendship group, if you get what I'm saying.
See, me, my friendship group, we're open, innit? We can all have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, we've always been open with each other. If one man's going through depression, if one man's broke, etc., like, we've always been tight like that. But I just think in terms of, like, when it comes to these kind of conversations, the success, personal growth kind of conversations, it doesn't really take place often, or if it does, it's very brief. Do you know what I'm saying? But ideally, this is just for anyone. You want to be in environments where you can go deep into the conversation, because you never know what I believe you can learn something from everyone, right?
True. Definitely learn something new, right?
Even from the networking
I want to talk about that as well in a bit.
Talk about what?
I think one of the things we marked it down. I had it as my first thing you said in the notes. Fred.
Okay. Oh, that.
Yeah.
But carry on. What was you saying? So?
I lost it.
I think he's talking about people learning from just.
Oh yeah. I believe you can take something from everyone, and everyone can take something from you. So it's important to just speak. Obviously, don't speak nonsense, but speak. And when people are speaking, actually listen. Don't think, even if you might be ahead of someone, don't let that get to your head, because they might know something that you don't. And so, like, for example, Nathan Peters, it just took him that little sentence for me to make an identity shift. and he didn't do that on purpose, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
if I can take this one thing from this person and it changed my life, imagine how many other people are waiting to say something to me that can change my life, right? That's how it is.
That was beautifully said.
Yeah,
It was, yeah.
So we spoke about how environments can change your life, like, and I know habits can do the same thing, because you can have bad habits, you can have good habits. What would you say your good habits are that kind of shape you into the person that you're going to become?
I think a lot. It's gonna sound mad, yeah, but I think a lot because one thing that I realize with people is that they think but they don't think. Do you know what I'm saying?
What do you mean by that?
Like their brains are on autopilot, so that they're thinking the same thing every day. But when they're thinking, they're not actually thinking. Why did I think that? Why do I feel this way? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Okay, this needs to happen. That shouldn't happen anymore, etc. That's come up critical thinking. That's what I would call it. That's one of my main habits, but it's a good habit.
And how does that benefit you, critical thinking?
It improves your decision making process. Because you're not sitting there 2, 4, 5 days thinking about something. It's just like think, pros, cons, etc., etc. decision. Do you know what I'm saying?
Would you say that's like a form of meditation?
Nah. I've tried the whole meditation thing as well. I'm not a big fan of it. It works to an extent, like just to be able to sit and not think of anything, clear your mind. But I wouldn't say it's had any benefits. I'd say the main benefits that I've gained. I think the main thing that I've benefited from is journaling. That actually allows me to empty my brain, empty my thoughts, self-reflect, know what I need to do better next time, etc. So me personally, I would say journaling over meditation. But meditation is good for someone that's always thinking, always stressed, always on the go, because meditation allows you to relax and calm down. But naturally, I'm always a calm person anyway, so me going into a meditative state, it doesn't really do much for me, personally anyway. But to answer you guys' question again, another one of my habits that contributes to the person I am today, I would say, I'm going to say reading and always being open to learning. Because I think one thing that I realized with people, they're very either ignorant or they're arrogant or both. Some people think that they know too much and they don't need to learn anymore. But then that's not true, because if you knew what you needed to know, you would be where you want to be, right?
True.
But then there's ignorant people where they just they know sometimes they know they're supposed to, but they just don't. They just don't want to do it. I don't know why. I'm none of those things. What did I say? Open to learning. Yeah, just be open to learning, man. It makes life so much easier for you. Kind of goes back to what I was saying before, like when you're speaking to someone always has something to offer. I'd say reading as well. Reading just changed the way I think altogether. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been reading recently. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's only today because I knew I had a long train journey, so I was just like, let me bring the book.
Makes
but
sense.
In my early stages, I was reading. But I think reading is very good in like the early stages because it reprograms your mind. It changes, it shifts. You go from thinking this way to thinking this way, right? This gap here is like the very pivotal moment, because you look at your old self and think, wow, is that how I was thinking? Is that what I was doing? And because of the stuff you've been reading, it's like, okay, that needs to stop. This is why this has been happening. And when you're reading, you're also learning new things. So it's like, okay, cool. I need to start thinking like this. I need to start acting like this. And yeah, reading's been a big thing for me. I'm not going to lie.
Would you say in your early stages of reading, were you also taking notes of the book? Because I know when I started, I wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something I regret.
Yeah.
I started to highlight just recently.
In secondary school, when we used to like annotate books for like our English lessons, we just used to underline things, highlight things. So I kind of took that habit into reading the self-help, personal development books, etc. So when I'm reading something, if something sticks out to me, just underline it and then keep going through the book doing the same thing. Sometimes I write notes, etc. So that when I go back through the book again, the same notes are still there. And I can just, when I want to go over the book again, then everything's already underlined. So it's not difficult to pick out quotes, etc. I know what's where, etc. It's also important because I believe you should never read a book once, because on your second read you'll always see things that you didn't understand or see the first time, right? Now if you've underline things, you can see all the things that you understood before. And if something isn't underlined, it's evident to yourself that you didn't understand or see that before.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, I don't understand why someone would read a book and not write on it.
Yeah,
To me personally, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense when I think about it. Because back in school, we used to do the same thing. But in school, reading was kind of different because the books didn't really develop me as a person. It was more of
Just
GCSE, just read it for your GCSE and whatever.
And the thing is as well, with these kind of books, you'll forget most of the stuff.
Yeah.
So if you've gone through the book and you haven't annotated anything, you're probably gonna put the book down and you're probably gonna remember like 2 or 3 things. And you're probably not gonna be able to explain those 2-3 things in detail if someone did ask you. So technically you didn't learn anything from the book.
True.
That's how I view it. So it's like all my books, if you look at all my books, there's written stuff. I've underlined everything. Yeah, man.
I think there's a difference between reading a book and studying a book.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, when you're studying the book, you're doing these
I'll get into that
annotations.
as well. I had a habit, yeah, because again, this was in my early stages of the personal growth stuff. I'm just reading. Obviously, I'm annotating, but I'm reading next book. Then my boy Hazefa said to me, first he said to me, tell me one thing that you've learned from each of the books. I was able to do that. But then it kind of made me realize that, hold on, the fact that I had to think about the thing that I learned from the book means that I don't even remember most of the stuff that I read in the book.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the point of even reading the book then? Because what you've just done is you just read a bunch of words, but you can only remember bits and pieces. But I guarantee these bits and pieces you could have just went on Google. So if you're going to read a book, you might as well study the book. Take all the information that you can from the book.
Yeah.
Once you can actually explain the concept to someone from that book and you feel like you fully understand it and you're comfortable, then move on to another book.
What would you say that is? Would you say that's like... Because I know a lot of people, especially myself as well, when I started this self-development journey, would you say that's ego reading? Because, okay, you feel like you are getting knowledge, so you are progressing. You're not really... Oh, you make a TikTok? Yeah, please tell us about TikTok.
Because what it does, like I fell victim to this as well. It makes you feel like you're doing something. 2, it makes you feel like you're smart. Because now when someone talks about books, you can say, oh, I've read 10 books, I've read 20 books, I've read 100 books. You sound smart, right? Boost your ego. People think, oh, this guy's intelligent.
Yeah, he read these books.
Yeah. But if you don't have anything to show for it, that was me. I read all these books, but I didn't have anything to show for it. So I was like, hey, cool. Something's wrong here. I've just been reading these books, but I haven't done anything. I haven't taken action. It makes you feel like you're doing something. You are, but you're not. In the real world, you're not doing anything, right? Because if a random person was to just look at you, then look at you, they can't look at him, Ajane, and say, you've read 20 books. You haven't. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not evident. Someone needs to look at you and look at the results you're getting and be like, okay, cool. He probably read this book. He said this. He probably read that book. You wouldn't have something to show for it, something physical, right?
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that.
Something
like that
physical.
well.
Yeah, that was perfectly said.
And you know how we spoke about journaling? Like, do you think it helps organize your thoughts as well?
Yeah.
Or is it just about emptying everything down on the paper?
Both emptying and organizing. There's a quote, I can't remember who it's by, but he says, sometimes you don't know what you're thinking or what you're feeling until you write it. Because remember, when you're writing, that's when you're actually taking... In order to write something, you need to come to your brain first. And then you're going to organize it into a word. Then when you read it, it's like, oh, that's how I feel. I didn't know I felt like that. Right?
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you more clarity. When everything's in your brain, remember, you got 1,000 things in your brain. If you can just put it onto paper and you can visually see it, it's like, oh, it kind of singles this one thought or feeling out from all the thousands or millions of things that's in your mind. Right? For me, journaling, I used to think, like, how is journaling going to help me? Like, I'm just writing. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's the ignorant me. That was the ignorant me. The one time I was in Tesco, I saw the journal. I was just like, let me just buy it. Like, what do I lose? What, £10? I was like, cool. Let's just start journaling. My only habit is that sometimes I don't do it every day. But overall, when I do it, it does help me because it's also a form of documentation. If I journal something today, then look back a year later, it's like, oh, on this day I was feeling this way. And then you can compare it to how you're feeling that time. So imagine you might have a terrible day today, but a year later from today, you might have the best day and you can look back and think, wow, look at the progress I've made, right? That's another thing of journaling, being a form of documentation.
So how would because obviously you say it's one of the major things that's probably helped you progress a lot further.
I wouldn't say major things, but one of the more smaller things that's definitely made.
But it's definitely added up to added. So
Facts.
to anyone wanted to get involved in journaling,
Mm-hmm.
what advice would you give them and where to start?
Buy a journal.
Is there no specific way to do it? Like how would you recommend to do it?
Obviously buy a journal. Some journals already have the like questions and then you can just answer it, etc.
Okay.
But what I like to do is ask yourself questions that don't ask yourself questions that you can't say yes or no to. So ask yourself questions that force you to think of a sentence. Like, what could I have done better today?
Okay,
Sentence,
yeah.
right? What did I do badly today? Sentence. That's basically what I would do, because those kind of questions, it requires you to think, and when you're thinking, you're self-reflecting, and you're also putting something down on paper which you can now change for tomorrow, right?
Okay.
So if let's say my screen time was too high today, I wrote that down, I know for the next day, lower the screen time. Simple things like that, just questions that allow you to self-reflect. And naturally, this kind of stuff would increase your self-awareness as well, because you'll start to look at yourself more and be more conscious in your thought process instead of just being on autopilot all the time. Because again, for most people, they're just on autopilot. They know they might have done something bad today, but they don't actually consciously think about it. So they end up repeating that same thing the next day. And because they're not thinking about it, it just happens again. And what do we call that? We call that a habit, right?
Yeah.
So now you're just in a spiral of bad habits. I don't think you can change your bad habits until you start self-reflecting. And obviously a good way to self-reflect is journaling, or just asking yourself questions that require a sentence. So it kind of all goes hand in hand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're the man to that.
I started journaling. I just bought an empty book. I just started journaling. And when I was writing, I was like, oh my, I'm going to look back in a few weeks and think, that's how I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what happened this day, etc.
Yeah.
And another reason I started journaling was I heard someone say, we process so many thoughts and we process it so fast in our brains.
Mm-hmm.
But if we was to write it down, our hands couldn't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're writing down, we have to process and actually think, okay, this is exactly how I feel in this moment. Then you're going to start to think, why do I feel this? What happened?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I fix it?
That's the rabbit hole you want to go down.
Yeah.
That rabbit hole that promotes like the best form of growth. Looking at yourself, being accountable, looking at the ugly things about yourself, looking about the good things about yourself. And it's like, okay, this needs to be changed. This can stay the same, etc. That's just how you go forward, right? Like, I was going to say something as well. If you are someone that doesn't want to journal, just take videos. I got videos on Snapchat, literally videoing how I feel at that moment, what's been going wrong, etc., etc. So that I personally don't do it for journaling purposes, but I do it for documentation. 6 months from then, I want to look back at that same video, remember taking that video. Like, I got a video on my phone where I say, I think I said a year from now, I'm going to move myself out, I have X amount in my account, blah, 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 blah. Now, when I go back to that snap, I want to almost refill what I was feeling before, but feel the sense of joy because of how I'm feeling at that present moment. Because it's going to be a fat difference, right? Yeah.
Nah,
I feel like documentation is important, because if you don't document something, it no longer exists.
Oh my days, bro. We had the same discussion with the podcast. We were like, this podcast is going to be on platforms pretty much forever.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as we post it, forever. Same with YouTube, forever. As soon as you post a video online, it's there forever. You can look back in 10 years, show your kids.
Databases
like,
there.
this is what we was doing in 2020. Like, COVID happened, lockdown, like, it was recorded.
That's why.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's why I'm a big fan of documentation. I think one thing that I want to do, but I want to be more consistent with it. One day in my life, I want to write a book, I think I want to call it The Blueprint. But this is going to be all of my experiences. This is going to be all of my life lessons. But I'm writing this book for my kids and my grandkids.
Okay.
So it's like...
So is it not a book available to everyone?
No, it will be available to everyone, but this is
it's
mainly for them.
Yeah.
So now, just if anything was to happen to me or whatever,
that's still there.
Dad and Granddad wrote this book, so everything that you need to know is here.
Yeah,
do you get what I'm saying?
That is beautiful.
So what?
Can't lie.
Okay, that sounds.
That's beautiful.
That's why I need to document my stuff so they can search their dad on the internet and actually see the videos.
I'm glad you said that.
See my social media, etc. This is what granddad was doing. This is what my older cousin was doing. And yeah, man.
Because this is what I was just saying with about our YouTube channels. And obviously, with our YouTube channels, we plan to document not only our growth together, but our own growth.
Personal growth,
and I feel like once you see this in like a year's time, like, raw, we was in this studio, now we're in this studio recording the podcast. But yeah, that's great. You ever thought about starting YouTube?
Yeah, that's why I'm buying a camera and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you could like,
You told us.
this question. So, within the blueprint, when you do eventually write the book, what do you think? Just from now, I guess you're 22 years old?
21
years old. What 3 lessons would you put in there right now if you was to start writing? Or 3 teachings?
Cool. The first bit I would put, the first one I would say, this is to my son. This is all of my male family members that read this book, my younger ones.
I can maybe come back and watch the part where he's first talked about it.
I would say, do not focus your energy on women. And if you do, make sure it's one and the right woman. Don't spread your energy apart. Just keep it in one place. As long as the return on investment is good, that's where you want to be. Because one thing that I realized is that, one thing that I experienced was, when you're talking to this girl, you're talking to this girl, you got to maintain these conversations, maintain these relationships, etc. You're just wasting time.
I've always said I don't know how man do it.
Yeah,
how man have so much time to talk to bare things.
I was looking at I was thinking to myself, it was either last night or the night before, I was thinking, how did I do this? Because it was so much conversation here, bro. It was too much. So I would tell my sons, don't focus on women. If you do, make it be very minimal. Only give it like 5-10% of your time. The rest of it, be more productive, do whatever you need to do in your life. Another thing that I would say...
So that's lesson 1. I like that.
Lesson 1. Don't focus too much on women. If so, make it the right woman. Lesson 2, I would say... I would say... Be a man of competency. That's what I would say to the males in my family. And when obviously it's going to be a long paragraph, not paragraph, but a whole chapter. Yeah. But when I talk about competency, I talk about being physically strong. I talk about being consistent, being disciplined, being confident, having courage. All of those like traits, just being competent in all areas of your life. Just being the man that your wife, that all the females in your family, all your female friends can rely on. That's what I would lesson 2 would be, competency.
I like that.
Same.
Lesson 3, I would say.
I said I don't like everything. I said I like it. But the truth is, I do really like it. I do.
Lesson 3, I would say, maintain and build. Because they would be reading it from the perspective of, Granddad's already done this, left this for us. Now we need to maintain and build. So I'm going to tell them how to maintain it and how to build. And when I talk about maintaining, this is also being open to learning. This is, I think a lot of it is being open to learning, not being ignorant, not being arrogant, building, teaching them how to build. How would I do that? I'll teach them how, basically about networking, just the whole shebang, bro. Just everything. But that's what I would call it. I would say, not focusing too much on women. If so, make it the right one. Be competent in all areas. Maintain and build.
Okay. I like that. Especially when you talk about being competent in health or fitness.
Health.
I think you said, yeah.
All of those, yeah.
Because without health, bro,
nothing. You could have £1 billion, but if you're sick in bed, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
If you can't physically move, the £1 billion means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You know what they say, health is wealth.
And you know why I kind of focus on health more nowadays? It's more of, I think to my future self, and I think my body won't be able to do the same things that it is now. So I might as well find out what it's capable of.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying about what my mom used to say to me when I was in bed in the morning. It's like, make haste while you can. Because while you're at these younger days, these are the times you should be building yourself, becoming the person you want to be. Because when you hit 40 or 50, you may have kids by then, you may not have the time, and you may not be able to move. Maybe you're agile, you're tired, you're old. You know what I'm saying? You're just not going to have that energy once again.
Do you know what I think of fitness sometimes? I think I'm very traditional, right? So I want to be the strong guy at the house, like
a man.
Just a man,
Yeah.
bro. Just a man. Like I even want to start getting into cage fighting and that, bro. Just to see what
every man should learn to defend
bro,
himself.
that as well. But I just want to see what I'm capable. I want to see if I push my body to the highest extent, what can I do? Yeah. Another thing as well, in terms of like every man should be able to defend themselves. I fell victim to this as well. A lot of guys have this idea in their head that when they get angry, all red, or they can do the mad thing. But that might be true. But if you was to fight someone that actually has been trained in fighting, you stand no chance, bro. And it's like, for me, what happens when you're living in your house with your wife and kids, and then someone breaks into the house at night and you can't fight?
Yeah.
And imagine you go down because you couldn't fight, and then now something happens to your family. You're going to be hurting yourself because it's like, it was a one-on-one and I lost. I wasn't able to protect my family.
That would live with you as well.
Yeah,
That's going to live with you, bro. I remember your kids
saw you get bust up.
But not even that. Remember, your kids look up to you as like Superman. Yeah. So you wasn't able to live out that Superman role.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't fight. And that, to me, that's wow. So I'm just like, you know what?
You know, I think I said something similar. I remember saying, I think I said it like, yo, imagine now you're in a situation with you and the guy supposed to try to do a thing. I feel like every man should be man enough to stand up to be able to protect themselves and the girl in a situation. You get what I'm saying? And I always believe that, yo, you should pretty much win, because being true, you're meant to protect her, and if you show her in front of her you can't protect her, there's gonna be doubts, you know.
Yeah,
there's gonna be doubts. There's gonna be doubts.
But to be fair, if a situation like that did happen, I don't think the relationship would even be the same, bro.
Yeah, that's
just because of how you feel.
Not even that. The fact she saw you, you know, she calls you daddy, or he thinks of you as
Okay.
she thinks of you as the man, and to see, like, she probably knows obviously there's a lot stronger men out there and everything, but to see the guy who's meant to protect her get bust up, if maybe it's by some bigger guy, cool, but if it's by some, get what I'm saying, someone who looks like flimsy or something, and she sees you get twisted up, it's not going to be the same.
I think, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sorry, bro.
You're crazy.
Flimsy.
Well, I couldn't see myself the same if I got booked in front of my girl.
Damn.
I couldn't. Maybe that's the ego.
I was doing some thinking, yeah. The reason why I personally want to hop in a cage and obviously just be trained, Muay Thai, whatever, all of them, is that it's going to build your confidence. Because think of it, yeah. If you can hop in a cage and fight a man in fair combat, when it comes to doing other things in your life, maybe public speaking or whatever you want to do, you're going to think, hold on, if I can hop in a cage with the next man that can smoke me, what's public speaking? What's this? What's that? So I think it's going to boost your confidence in all areas of your life. That's what I personally think. So I'm going to do it.
I think like that's great. I'm great you said that, because like even like when you're fighting, you have like an adrenaline rush, and I feel like there's many thoughts, mind emotions, maybe should I duck, dive, should I do this? And I feel like once you learn to calm yourself, as you said, in other situations, you'll be so much more calmer than you would be before. So that's like, especially, it's definitely out of your comfort zone. I don't feel like you can ever be in your comfort zone when you're in a cage with a man who's trying to knock you out. So you're constantly, you're always out your comfort zone. So that causes for major development. So that was beautifully said about that.
Facts.
Amazing.
So we spoke about a lot. We have a lot of things. One of the things you've done, your Instagram is Aaron Grow Nation.
Growth Nation.
Growth Nation. That's Arrow Growth Nation. Why Arrow Growth Nation?
Growth Nation is a newsletter of mine, a personal growth newsletter of mine, where I aim to develop the mindsets, personal skills, and just life altogether of its readers. I also use Growth Nation as a public journal. So anything that I learn or experience, I will just be open with people on Growth Nation, and you guys can read it and learn as well.
Nice.
The reason why...
That's hard. That's a great document.
It used to be called Growth Daily, but then there's another page called Grow Daily.
Oh yeah, we know.
Right.
Yeah.
Spoke to Tris Taylor, etc., etc.
You spoke to him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That messaging him the other day.
He
still.
messaged me.
Ooh,
Then
What?
Sorry.
yeah.
Go-
Nah, do you know why? It's because
He did like my picture though. That's what I'm saying.
I think he saw it from the perspective of this person's trying to copy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I made an Instagram for my newsletter, but I was explaining to him the reason why it's not the same is because you're actually running a brand. Whatever you're doing with Grow Daily is whatever you're doing. But mine, the Instagram that I made, this is just me reposting like stuff from the newsletter. I'm not doing mentoring, I'm not doing consulting. This is literally just a page to promote a newsletter. So I was saying to him, it's not the same thing. What me and you is not doing this is the same.
Oh, is that what you came to ask? Just asking what is it you're doing?
So then, just to avoid confusion, I just changed the name to Growth Nation. I actually prefer Growth Nation now.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds bigger as well.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a community as well.
I use the words specifically. Like if you
Yeah.
go onto the website, and you might see a little picture. It's literally of a planet. Like everything, even the color green. Green is like linked to like positivity, etc. Everything's done on purpose. Yeah, that's why it's called Iron Growth Nation.
I like that. Yeah.
But my Instagram, it used to be called I Am Colza. I made a separate account. That's more
Personal.
yeah. But Iron Growth Nation, that's like the professional version of me. That's more yeah. It's just not even professional. It's just the growth in myself. Do you know what I'm saying? It's no longer the teenage me. It's more turning into an adult, turning into the more competent and sufficient person. Yeah.
So on this, you said you do a newsletter. I'm guessing you do it on Substack.
Yeah.
What's been one of the? How often do you post? Sorry, just
Like 2-3 times a week.
2-3 times a week.
I've been slacking recently, but that's what I need to be doing.
So, what's been one of the topics that's blew up the most that people have actually kind of related to and learned a lot? Because I know you probably some bang more than other, and people are like, "Wow, thanks for it was a great read. This was Aaron."
Yeah. I made one called Black and Broke.
Okay, please tell us about that. Black and Broke.
I made one called, but this was probably like my second or third newsletter. So I wrote it this time ago. I wrote about the experiences of being black and broke, but I also explained why most black people are broke. Right? And I just went into depth on it. Jazz Rose read it and he said he liked it. But me personally, I don't think it's not something that we can't change. We just have to want to change it, right?
Yeah.
The reason why a lot of black people are broke is because we don't read. The knowledge is there, but we don't go and get it, right?
Say ignorance.
Ignorance. Another reason why is because... Oh, I lost it. Hold on. I said we don't read.
Yeah.
It was just in my mind and I lost it.
I've got one, but I don't know if it's yours.
It might trigger mine.
Mine was gonna be self-limiting beliefs, or just like not even self, more of like limiting beliefs in our community. Like, oh, we can't go and do this because there's a barrier there. But really and truly, it's only a barrier because you think it is.
That's a very big one. I see a lot of black people talk about they can't do this, they can't do that. But it's one of those ones where if you say you can't and you actually have the belief is what makes it real. So if you believe you can't go and do it, you're not going to do it. Like, how do you expect yourself to do something if you don't believe you can do it? That's why I believe that self-belief will take you to places that you wouldn't imagine. And I remember what I was going to say before, that we tear each other down, or we don't want to see each other do good. Like, for example, I watched a video, I can't remember the person's name, but on TikTok, he's a Jewish guy, but he basically teaches all the Jewish secrets. Not even
I
secrets.
saw that on your story. And he was on about
reposted
the cycle that they do. Great community.
The way he describes the Jewish community is like, the way they work together is amazing because whoever they decide to work with is Jewish. Whoever gets in, whoever they hire, Jewish. Like, everyone is just Jewish. So that way, the money just circles around, everyone gets paid, and the community just goes up and up and up. There's a book called...
So even the charity as well. So the charity is Jewish.
Yeah,
so
the
his
schools,
kids gets
everything.
provided for. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, black people don't really have infrastructure. We don't have places where, okay, he's black, I'm going to send my kids here. It's just not there. If it is, it's not proper. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a book called... What's it called? I think The Jewish Phenomenon by Steven Silberger. I haven't read the book, but I watched the summary. The author says that when a community always relies on finances from someone or something that's superior, they will always be at a disadvantage. And I thought that's black people. Always relying on benefits, always relying on this, relying on partner. If you guys are Caribbean, you might know what partner is.
No, I know exactly what I'm on right now. Still.
Now, what is it?
It's basically, it's a way of saving money. It's like you've got a start date, and every 2 weeks you'll put like £100 together.
Yeah.
And that week,
someone else might get the money, then the next person. Everyone gets money, basically. Rely on money from our jobs, rely on money from other people, whether it's borrowing or just taking money from others. Like, we don't have something where we make the money and the money's ours. Do you know what I'm saying? And when I read that in the book, I was like, wow, that's so true. We need to get to a place where we don't need to rely on others for our finances. And I think, naturally, that's not even just black people. I think that's everyone. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you the question. I'm not sure if you answered just then, but so why would you say black people do not strive as well as, obviously, the Jews?
The lack of community and the lack of infrastructure.
Would you say there's segregation between us?
What, between black and Jewish?
No, just black people in general.
Black.
Oh, yeah, of course. I don't think black people like black people, bro. I'm not going to lie to you.
They don't. They don't.
There's even times where I might be around some other brothers that I might not know, but like sometimes there's that hostility there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Always is. I don't know.
And I don't know why, and it's not even like it's on purpose. It's just me being very alert. But it's like if I was to go around a bunch of white people, I'm not really alert. So how is it I'm more alert around people that look like me than people that don't look like me?
So do you reckon the cause is deeper than, I wouldn't say the cause is deeper than being ignorant, as in it's more to do with our background, roots, and where we're from?
Nah, that's one of the main causes. But how long can we live our life just blaming it on the causes? Isn't it more smarter, more sufficient to say, okay, cool, that happened in the past, this might be going on now, but what is the best move on the chessboard? What can I do right now that's going to better me financially, right? And it's already been proven. There's already been black people that have come up from nothing and become millionaires. So if they can do it, why can't we? Right? Remember, we have the internet now. It's not like back in the day where we didn't have the internet, where people couldn't go online and search something. Now, think of it from this perspective, yeah. There's thousands of millionaires and business people. They make free content. Look, people like Grant Cardone and whatever, think of it, yeah. Alex Hormozy as well. When they do seminars, the people that's actually there, they probably paid like however much money to get there. The seminar's on YouTube. Think about that for a second. Some people paid £500 or whatever to go to the seminar, but the seminar's on YouTube. So I'm getting this value for free. So it's not a thing where it's an information issue. The information is all over the internet. People, content, you name it, it's there. But it's people's willingness to go and actually get the information and implement it into their lives. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get you.
That's the problem. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, the openness, arrogance, ignorance, and the openness to learn. I don't think a lot of us are open to learn or even ready to learn. That's what's holding us back. We're too focused on the things that's going on right now, whether it be partying, whether it be whatever it might be. But I feel like if everyone was to buckle down and say, you know what, this is the life I want. I'm going to stop saying I want it and actually go and get it. I don't think until that happens, things aren't going to change. I don't think things are going to change realistically. But there's ways that we can make the change. But yeah, bro, it's crazy.
I feel like that's it's a deep topic with lots of...
It's got so many branches. That's the thing.
It does. Yeah. Because I was going to say something like the reason like black people are so hostile with each other, it's like the society we live in. Every time we look on the news, it's always the black person, the black stabbing. But they don't really show the white stabbing or other crimes. It's always, you always just notice the black one specifically. It will be in the headlines. So you'd be walking on the street and you'd see another black person, you would think, oh, I kind of don't want that to happen to me. So you kind of stand your ground. Yeah. And you're always on the offense.
That's why it's mad. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Especially what you just said about how can you be intimidated by someone of your own skin, your own race, compared to the other race? Because that is true. Like if I see a bunch of, if I see a bunch of black guys at the back of the bus, I kind of already kind of get that feeling because I've seen and I know what the man I like. When I've seen a bunch of white guys, I'll be like,
You
won't phase me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'll be less on edge. You get what I'm saying?
You know what's funny as well? I went back to Jamaica 2 years ago for the first time, and obviously it's a black island, so I've just stepped off, and I was like, oh, there's just black people.
Yeah.
Like I knew,
Yeah.
but until I seen it, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, what the hell? Then I'm like, oh, there's black people handling my stuff. Like, how safe is that? Then I realized, bro, I've got some corrupt mentality, you know.
Facts.
Like this was 2019, and I was just like, nah, I actually can't be thinking like that. Like, not everyone's gonna be bad because they're black, but that's kind of the way society
I
in
think
the UK kind of pushed it.
one thing that I want to do in my life, just to combat everything that I just said, I want to create like a school, or I don't know what it would be, but a school. Let's just call it a school for the time being.
Growth Nation Academy. Sorry, Kieran.
Maybe
That would be perfect. Still.
where parents can like send their kids to learn what their school doesn't teach, whether this might be stuff in the personal growth sector, whether this might be things on how to handle money, like just things that they won't learn in school, just to ultimately make their parents' life and just make people's life better in general.
I just thought of a mad idea just based off what you're saying. But yeah, we'll talk about off camera. Off camera.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my
I'm writing that down.
my goal is to always leave people better than I found them. So whether I say one thing or whether I say 10 things, at least just take one thing that I say and maybe implement it into your life. So whilst I'm alive, why not just try and change as many people's life as I can? Whether that be black, white, whoever, just make people's life better.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay. I would say, I got a question out of this. I would say, when I think about communities, the white, Asian, black, I think we are the most less community, as in the most segregated, as in I don't feel like we work together very well.
No, we don't.
So, based off just what you were saying, what message would you give to bring the black community together? If you could maybe try and get more black people to support each other more, to do better more, what single message would you say?
I don't know, bro. Because like part of my brain is thinking, okay, what would I actually say? But then part of my other side of my brain is thinking, even if you say that, is it gonna work?
But you don't
get
know
what
that.
I'm saying?
You don't know if it will work. So
No, I
either
think
way.
it would work for some. It wouldn't work for all, because only some are ready to change.
So to say it to the some, what would you say?
What would I say?
For those who actually receive your message and actually accept it, what is it you would say?
Start learning about money.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, I can't lie, I'm gonna say that. I'll say that to anyone, but I'm gonna say that to black people. The reason why, is because we want to make money, but no one actually that knows anything about money. The only thing we know about money is salary, right? We only know that. That's all we basically know about money. I'm not gonna lie to you. But then when you start going down the rabbit hole of money, banks, financial freedom, being paid based on value instead of being paid based on your time, when you start going down that rabbit hole, it makes things like 10 times easier to understand. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like one thing I was saying to my boy yesterday, let's say we have two people, right? One person works, one person doesn't. Let's say they want to make 5k. Person A says or thinks subconsciously how much time they need to trade or how many shifts, how much overtime they need to do to make that 5k, right? Person B might think, okay, that's 5 clients. You think of it, that person can get 5 clients in the same day, whereas this person is doing it based on time. And now when you start learning about money, it changes the way you think about money. It's like, okay, cool, I didn't have to do that to make money. There's easier ways to make money. And once you understand something, it makes it easier to get or easier to receive, easier to obtain, right? I just feel like black people don't know anything about money. That's well, money management, but that kind of goes underneath money. But I think that's like one of the main things that are holding us back.
All right. Just one of the last questions on being black, unless you got one as well.
I got one on money real quick.
Yeah. So we're going to answer this question. So, what does it mean to you to be black?
Very easy question.
I mean, because it means different things. Someone to mean black.
I don't know, you know.
Because on this journey, okay, I'm trying to think how I want to word it because it is a difficult one. But somebody asked me that, and I didn't know how to answer it. And he said, for me, it's what it means to be black is to set an example for the younger black people, so that they no longer worry about the color. As in, so he was like, for him, he works in a business, and it's in the business they all wear just normal clothes. But he says he wears a suit.
Okay.
Because he wants to stand out and he wants to believe. Because for the other guys, if he wore normal clothes, because he's black, he would have to work harder to get that next role and position. So because he wears a suit and he stands out from the rest, he ended up getting that next position. And he said what that meant for me in black, because he was already in a disadvantage. He said that he wanted to pave the way for black people, that to say, for us, you kind of have to work harder than everybody else. But then he was also saying, here, we want it to be that so many black people are in these positions that you don't have to work harder. You're seen as equal to other races, and you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's one of them questions we actually have to sit.
That's
think about.
And that's what he said. What it means to be black, and I was just there like, big man. I'm
know.
not sure. I can tell you my experiences as a black man, but I don't really know what it means to be black.
I'm gonna ponder on that one because I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't even answer that.
That's
I pin that one.
Atmospheres,
yeah. Like, what does it mean to be black? But it's not like I can answer it for the other races because I don't know what it means to be. But I could give an example. If I was in the shoes, I could kind of say you might have maybe different more privileges than what I have. I maybe have it a bit more difficult than you do. But then again, I don't know everybody because everybody's situation is different. But when I speak in majority in a way. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, that was the question about being black.
Okay. Yeah, that threw me off. So.
Yeah.
I realised mine was more of a statement, not a question. It was just to do with the money thing and black people. It's like, obviously you need to learn money, understand money, but they also need to understand where money is flowing, because we're in a new era now. Like the internet has grown and it's still growing, and there's a lot of money going into the internet.
Facts.
And there's just still older people. They're just like, they don't get it. They're just like, oh no, this is the traditional route. This is what you have to do. But online sells. You can make a lot of money online if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, the traditional. I don't want to say I can't even say the word. I don't want to say the traditional route doesn't work, but it's just less effective compared to what exists right now, compared to what it used to be. Like for example, what's a good example? Let's say my boy Hazefa Malik, he works with clients doing brand strategies, right? Let's say he wants to, again, the example before, let's say he wants to make 5K, 5 clients, easy. But for you to make 5K working, let's just say the average job, you're going to be doing months of work, right? Just understanding simple concepts like that on ways you can make money, getting paid based on your value that you provide instead of being paid based on your time, it could take you to like astronomical levels. I'm not going to lie. And even when you're making money based on your time, it means, because time is limited, not time is limited, but how do I word this? If your money is always linked to your time, how much money you can make is limited.
Yeah.
Because you're only working a certain amount of hours per day, right? So it's just going to be limited. But when you're being paid based on value, you can provide unlimited value. Like with my newsletter, I can provide value in my sleep. If someone reads my newsletter whilst I'm sleeping, I provide value in my sleep. Do you get what I'm saying?
That was nice.
Yeah.
That's a true fact as well.
Even you guys, someone could watch this podcast when you guys are sleeping, and you
true.
provide value in your sleep.
Yeah.
And if you guys had a way of monetizing your podcast, you might have made money in your sleep. You might have a CEO of you ebook.
Yeah. Newsletter.
And someone buys it. See? See? Value. That's literally the way to go. I think that was a very pivotal moment in my life as well, because I always used to think about doing shifts, etc., etc. But then when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he kind of made it very simple that rich people get paid based on the value that they provide instead of being paid on their time, that's when it clicked. I was like, oh, I need to provide value. What value can I provide in order to get paid, instead of thinking how much time I need to trade in order to get paid, right?
Yeah.
Pivotal moment. And that'll be a pivotal moment for everyone.
It's true. I feel like a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to get rich. I want to be a millionaire," but they're not really looking to start a business. And if you're not going to do it the business route, like there's other routes, but
yeah, definitely,
it's going to take you years.
It might not even take you years, bro. Like, it's just about. I think the most important thing is understanding what you're doing and actually making the start. Because, like, I know so many people that not even so many people, everyone, ask the general person if they want to get rich. They're going to say, yeah. Like, if you ask them if do you want £5 million, they're going to say, yeah. But it's like a question of how badly do you want it. I might want to know how to roller skate, but I don't want to know how to roller skate enough to actually go to a roller skating class, right? It just depends on how much you want it, because if you really want to get rich, you will really start reading. You will really start speaking to the right people. You will really start doing the things that's going to contribute to you, if not getting rich, at least increasing your income. In the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, it says merely wanting something does not lead to having. There needs to be persistent and consistent action behind your desire in order to actually obtain or get close to obtaining the thing that you want. Just wanting something, we all want things, but it's not going to happen.
True. Have you read Psychology of Money?
Of money, of course.
So while you were saying that, it was like, oh, a lot of people want to be rich. But really and truly, we can all become rich if we invest so-and-so in the S&P 500. After a certain amount of time, we'll have millions. But when people say, oh, I want to be a millionaire, what they really mean is, I want to spend £1 million.
I want to spend £1 million. I remember reading that.
Yeah, right? They don't really want to save up and have $1 million, because money, to me, I don't want to save and have $1 million and just look at $1 million. Like, I just want to be able to spend money when I want to spend money.
That's
and
for
just
me
be
as well.
Free.
I want to get to a place where I'm spending money, but I'm not thinking about the money that I've just spent.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get to a level where I can tap on the flipping Lamborghini and I don't look at, it's just numbers.
That's giving me Tate vibes. That is.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing that Andrew Tate says is literally, once you get to a certain level of income and a certain level of realization and understanding, it's just numbers on the screen. It's literally just numbers on the. If you remove your emotions behind it, it's literally just numbers on the screen.
Yeah.
One thing that my mentor told me one time is that money is just a scoreboard. It's just see it as points. Whenever you do something good, you get points, you get money. Whenever you make a bad decision or whenever you need to do something, you lose points, you lose money.
Right? That's a good way to think.
If you provide value, I gain 10 points, I gain £10, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Once you start seeing it as a game, it disconnects your emotions from it and it allows you to think more strategically. How can I gain more points? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just building on what you said, I seen Andrew Tate short, as you know, you guys everywhere, and he was saying, like, many people say they want money, but it goes down to show how bad do you really want it. Like, 'cause he's saying he wanted a Ferrari, and instead of thinking, how does he want? I just want a Ferrari. He's like, bro, I wanted a Ferrari so bad I couldn't sleep at night until I found a way how to make money.
I posted a video on my story. I don't know if it's still on my story, but I posted it yesterday. The reason why is because a lot of people are semi-comfortable where they are,
And that's what it's lead to.
and it's very true, because that we're all here probably guilty of it. I've been guilty of it myself. Like, you want to change, you've acknowledged that you want to change, but some days you really want to change. Some days just like it is what it is. Like,
it goes on with like food as well. Like, I know a lot of people want to be like, yeah, I want to physically change, but then they'll be like, oh, you know what? It's just a little bit of cake, up a bit of cake. But really and truly, if you really wanted to change,
you'll change. You'll find
you wouldn't ever touch that.
Like, I was thinking on the bus the other day. You ever seen a nitty not get what they want?
Nah.
Even if they don't get it that day, they get it 3 weeks later, they still get it somehow. That just shows you how far hunger and determination can bring you.
You just reminded me at one of my old jobs. One guy I must have said something. I was like, oh, how do these nitties afford it? They're broke. He's like, bro, they do anything for money. I want to be anything. Shameless. He goes, bro, they will do anything. He's like, they'll never. Listen, you may see them without money, but when it comes to what they want, somehow they found it.
Somehow.
It's true.
That's how we need to be. Like, in creating the life that we want. If it means that you need to go to, I don't even know, whatever, just do whatever you need to do. Remove the emotions behind it. Or if your emotions do start to get involved, ask yourself, do I really want this thing? Am I really going to let this thing stand in between what I want? Do I want to get to 30, 40, 50 years old and think to myself, I would be in a better position right now, but all I needed to do was just do that, or I was too scared to do this. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, our brain has a way of over-exaggerating things. Like, you might need to do something, but then your brain thinks, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And before you know, you haven't taken action. But sometimes you just need to go, do whatever you need to do, and just get it done. But reverting back to what I was saying before in terms of people being semi-comfortable, Andrew Tate, he gives an example where if I set you on fire, you're going to move, right? Why? Because you're uncomfortable. You're going to keep moving until the fire's gone. That's how you need to be in terms of changing your life. Like, wake up and get to it. None of the lay business, waking up late, 10 more minutes, 30 minutes more sleep.
Wow.
On the ball. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man.
That's going to get me out of bed first thing tomorrow night. That's getting me out of bed first. I'm going to think, yo, man said I'm on fire. I don't want to be on fire. I need to get up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You just can't be comfortable.
I was going to say, so you mentioned you had a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
What's one of the biggest things your mentor taught you?
I feel like that was a pretty big thing that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's three things though that he's taught me. Number one is in terms of women. You don't need to be the guy that doesn't indulge in women, but do it at a moderate level. Know when it's time for women, know when it's time for work. Have a balance. That's most important, what he said to me. You don't need to be like the YouTube guys where it's completely no fap. All of that stuff. Like, just have a base level and stick to that balance, right? Number two, networking. He tells me that one thing that he wishes at his age was networking. The whole reason why I think he'd probably networked with myself, because you never know when someone's going to be of value to you, whether it's 2, 5, 10 years from now. As long as that number's in your phone book and you can call them, easy phone call, right? Number three, it's hard work. Don't expect things to become easy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there are going to be exceptions and obviously certain situations in our life where we can do minimal work, or we see people do minimal work to get maximum results, but focus on the hard work. And when I say hard work, I mean the smart hard work. Like, for example, you guys might be reaching out to YouTubers and say, okay, let me edit your video, or 10 of your videos for free, just so you can get them on as a client. That's like the hard, smart work to obviously get a result on the back end. But don't be just basically telling me, just not be lay. Get to work. When it's time for the work, do the work. One thing that Flomsy also says as well, you get what you deserve. So anything that you're experiencing in your life right now, you probably deserve it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I actually agree with that.
And the thing is with that, even worst case scenario, it's not even your fault. By thinking like that and adopting that mindset, what it does is that it allows you to look at yourself and think, it's my fault. What can I change? Right? So once you can do that and identify the areas of change, you're basically good. As long as you can keep on doing that, changing when when change is necessary, you'll be fine. That's what I believe, bro.
I actually 100% agree with you. Nah, I love these kind of conversations, man, because I think to myself, before we had this conversation, you think a certain way, but then you say stuff to me and it changes the way I think, or just gives me a different perception of life.
But this is why, kind of going back to what I was saying before, avoiding echo chambers, because it allows you to think differently to what you was currently thinking. 2, networking, because someone always has something in their mind that they can see that can completely alter what you was going to do or what you was going to think or your current way of thinking. It's crazy. The human mind is amazing.
If there's one thing that's in my mind is anytime I'm scared to do something because I'm, I don't know, nervous, I think to myself, I'm not going to let a nitty out hustle me, bro. Because they don't care, bro. They'll do what needs to be done. Like, they've asked 100 people for £1. They've said no. They'll go ask 101. And I'm worried of asking Aaron, can you be on the pod? That's what I'm scared about, really. If he says no, he says no. Is what it is. On to the next.
You know why it's funny? On the train, I was reading a book. I was reading Think and Grow Rich, but I was reading the last chapter, or the second or third to last chapter. It talks about dealing with fear. It says that fear is just a state of mind. Think of it. If you don't think about being scared, you're not scared. The only reason why you're scared is because you thought of things that don't currently exist but could possibly exist. So kind of going back to the public speaking, what I was talking about before, you might have to go up on stage and talk, but then your brain thinks, what if they laugh at me? What if I stutter? What if these things haven't existed? They haven't happened yet.
It's you who's brought
It's
them up.
you. It's all in your mind. So if you can X that out and just go forward, move in boldness, or act in boldness, I would say. Fear doesn't almost. Actually, I'm gonna say fear doesn't leave us, because without fear you can't be courageous. I think having courage is still acting in spite of fear. So I think maybe we should keep the fear there, but adopt a sense of courageousness. So we basically, instead of making the fear, instead of the fear being a disadvantage, instead of the fear being a disadvantage, turn the fear into an advantage by adopting a state of courageousness. Makes sense?
Is that kind of like shifting the mind from being fear having fear, and then moving to creating courage?
I'm gonna say you can. Oh, what's a good analogy that I could use? You can use a hammer to build, or you can use a hammer to smash a wall, right? Fear is kind of the same thing. You can use the fear as a disadvantage, or you can use it as an advantage. You just have to choose to use it as an advantage.
That was a great analogy.
I had to.
That was a great analogy.
It's just one thing, it's one tool, but you decide how to use it.
All right, I think we're gonna have one more question because we're running out of time. Sorry, so
It's calm.
but definitely gonna need a part 2, because I feel like we're just kind of getting into it. There's still a lot to. There's still a lot to. Which one are you thinking? I was thinking this one here. Or systems. So there's still a whole bunch of questions I could ask you. The one thing I want to ask you, because this is something I'm still learning about, I want to definitely learn about it a lot more. Understanding the ego.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the ego? And what do you know? What knowledge do you have on it?
Understanding the ego, yeah. Again, I think your ego can be a disadvantage. It's a tool. It could be a disadvantage, or it could be an advantage. Like, if you're very egotistical, you might think you're that guy all the time. Then it kind of breeds arrogance and ignorance. So if your ego is overpowering you and over-consuming you, it kind of stops you or prevents you from growing, right? But let's say you have an ego where you think you're the best, or you think you're that guy or whatever, and you're not that person yet. Your ego will now motivate you to become that person. Do you see how there's a dual sense to it? You could either use it for bad, or you can either use it for good. But it's a thing where if you don't use it for good, I think it naturally leads into the bad. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you're an egotistical person, but everything that you're saying is right, are you really egotistical? Think about it. Am I egotistical, or am I stating facts? Or am I confident about the facts? Right? You
twisted me now. You twisted me now.
See, it really makes you think. So again, it's literally a tool. One thing that I would say, in terms of myself, do I have an ego? Yes, I think all men have egos, but use the ego to your advantage.
How would they do that?
Like, say things to yourself. Like, am I that guy? Am I the best editor? Am I the best photographer? Am I the strongest in this fighting gym? You might not be that at that time, but your ego would motivate you to, because you believe it so much, you're going to make it happen, right? But I think your ego needs to be controlled. So once you reach that level, don't go beyond. Don't let your ego breed into arrogance and ignorance, right? Okay. Once it's just the ego, I feel like there's a fair middle ground where when it's not over-consuming, it'll be all right. When it's over-consuming and you're doing the madness, then...
You got me thinking of Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, man. It's the ego.
Nah, I think even in terms of Vegeta as well, he used his ego for the better, because now he's basically as strong as Goku.
Ultra ego Vegeta.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Keep up with it. That's what I thought. Like, yeah.
I don't do animes.
You should.
I think Vegeta.
I've heard that reference before.
For character development, like when he actually learns to understand his ego and stop being the arrogant person he is, he did pretty much elevate to the best person he could be.
Like, literally goes back to what I was saying before. It can either serve you or it can not serve you. Vegeta chose to let his ego serve him. Right? If he let his ego not serve him, he would have stayed the same level saying that he was when he met Goku. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah,
That's
man.
crazy. OG ego Vegeta.
That's it though. But we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Yeah, man. It was a
But
good episode.
we do have a closing tradition on this podcast
I'm ready.
where our last guest leaves a question for our next guest. which
Cold
is
sweet.
you.
Yeah. Shout out Joshua, man.
Are you ready for the question?
Mm-hmm.
If you was to lose everything today, what would be the top 3 things you would do to get it all back?
The top 3 things that I would do to get it all back.
Yeah, you lost everything, money. You were just starting from zero.
Have I lost my contacts as well?
Yeah, you lost your contacts, you lost
Everything.
your social media, all your followers, everything. You're unknown.
I'm gonna go, yeah, to where wealthy people hang out. For example, it might be 5-star hotels, it might be golf clubs, etc., etc. And I'm gonna network, and I'm gonna provide value. I'm not gonna ask for anything in return. I'm just gonna keep providing value. Build my contacts up that way, build the money up that way, and obviously build from there. That's number 1. What I would do: networking, extreme, hardcore, like approaching random people, kind of networking and providing value. Number 2, 3 things, right?
Yeah, 3 things.
Number 2, if I lost everything, what would I do? That's a mad question. But I think the networking kind of bleeds into everything else, because once you got the contacts again, you can kind of go. Once you got the contacts, everything will kind of go back, not back to normal, but it'll be a lot easier because you know the right people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, damn, what would I do? Because I haven't lost my skills, I haven't lost,
you haven't lost
my
your
knowledge,
skills.
so all of that, I don't need to read anymore. Not that I don't need to read books, but that's not like the main thing that I need to do. I don't think I can think of 3, but the main thing, the main things I'm going to be doing is networking with new people and providing value to those people, and literally build my contacts up, make sure I get referrals from them people, so I'm working with more people. That's what I'm going to do: networking and providing value.
Okay.
For the record, we did flip this on Josh, and one of his 3 things were, I don't think he could think of 3 himself, but one of his 3 things was building back up his social medias. That was his way of networking.
Yeah.
But yours was different. Yours was doing it.
I should have done that as well. Oh, I didn't know I lost the socials as well, but
Yeah.
I'll
Lost it all, man. Lost it all.
I'll definitely build. I'll be heavy, because there was a period of time, I'm gonna get back to it, I was posting 10 videos a day on TikTok.
Whew.
Yeah,
You
10
know
a day.
what? There's a guy that posts 4 a day, and he's been doing it for like 3 years straight.
No, I think 1,000. He hit 1,000 days recently.
Yeah, he hit 1,000
That's
days recently. He's
Yeah.
got like 1 million or something followers.
17 years old as well.
17 years old, sponsorships. Yeah, he's just caking. But
Yeah, 10 a day works. Well, for me, it was working. Quickly as well, just with that, have the perspective, yeah, that one video is like a recruitment person, right? So now each time that video goes onto someone's For You page, they tap it and come back to your profile. So if you can do that with one video and they recruit however many people, imagine you send out 10 recruitment people and how much people they can all bring back to you.
I like that.
That's the way I think of it.
I think someone said that to me the other day. They were like, why do you post twice a day? Why not once? I'm saying, because if I'm doing twice the amount to reach anybody, well, eventually one of these is going to bring in a lot. And I'm saying, the less I do, meaning the less people that are going to come.
It's all about volume.
Yeah, it's about volume.
Just keep doing it.
I think Jordan said it as well. He goes, don't care about the algorithm. Just post.
Just post.
Yeah,
Just
just
post. Post.
To be fair, it's volume, but if you're not going to go for volume, at least go for quality.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. But we're going to have to wrap it up, man.
Cool.
We've
So
overstayed our
thank you,
time.
thank
Do I leave
Thank
a
you
question for the
coming
next
down.
guest?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, you
but-
can say it. We can, actually, no,
Don't say it.
don't say it. Don't say it.
We'll say it off camera. And we'll write it down somewhere.
Calm.
But I think for us, we'd like to say a massive thank you to
Nah, man, it's
Aaron.
good, man.
Anybody go and check out Aaron on his Instagram, Arrow Grow Nation.
On my Instagram, Aaron Growth Nation. Twitter, I am Koza. My newsletter is aarongrowthnation.substack.com. Snapchat, I post a lot of value on my story.
You
Koza
do.
official.
Subscribe to that.
Is there any other socials? TikTok. My username is I am Koza, but you can just type in Aaron David, so it will come
Yeah.
up.
And yeah, once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for coming
Definitely
on.
a lot. You got me thinking about that school. You got me thinking about that.
Cool, bro.
And
Really good pod as well, man.
and the ebook. The ebook.
Can I leave one gem for the viewers?
Go.
Go on. One
You-
big
you
gem.
le- you left
Yeah,
100,
you left-
bro.
yeah,
Go on.
Go on. Leave
leave
the
your
final
100 on
one.
one.
We're ending on the gem.
I'm gonna say believe in yourself, because the reason why a lot of people don't do great things is because subconsciously they believe that they can't do it. They believe that what they might want to do is out of their reach. But if you just believe that it is in your reach and you actually put in the effort, the consistency, the persistence, and you actually have the desire to achieve that goal, there's no reason why you can't. Like I said to my boy Jason yesterday, like, tell me a reason why we can't get rich 2023. Like, genuinely tell me a reason why we can't. We couldn't think of a reason why we can't. We got Wi-Fi, we got the Max, we got do you know what I'm saying? We have everything that we need to do. You have the resources that you need. If you don't make use of what you have in order to get what you need, and then just believe in yourself, persistence, and you'll get there, man. Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Beautiful.
Man.
Thank you.
Oh.
I like the last bit.